A very good morning to you all and welcome to another daily market outlook. In today's market outlook, we're going to be discussing the major dollar pairs and gold. It seems a lot of dollar pairs have hit their areas of supply and have started moving further down. So let's dive straight in, see what's going on. In the meantime, do not forget to leave a like and subscribe, and let's dive straight in. Starting off with the dollar index as usual, we can currently see that the dollar index is inside daily demand. If we dive in towards this area of daily demand and we look at the 4 hour, we can clearly see that we hit this area of 4 hour demand, stacked inside that daily, of course, liquidation happening right above that area of demand. So a beautiful liquidity spike down in towards demand, and from there a reversal. Quickly drawing in the premium versus discount tool, furthermore, we can clearly see that we hit the 50% mark, the EQ of the overall swing range, and that is pretty much where we're finding this area of support. So yeah, pretty nice price action on the dollar index. We could expect further upside momentum from here. However, just keep in mind that this downward push was extremely strong. So there is a lot of bearish momentum still, and we could still, for instance, form kind of like a slowdown pattern before any potential reversal. Until we, let's say, gain this level, I am being cautious. Once that level is gained, then I do think we will see further upside movement, as this is kind of weak area of supply. So yeah, that is that for the dollar. Still bullish until, of course, we break this swing low down below over here. So let's head over to Aussie dollar and Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar is, of course, still bearish on the daily and the weekly. Now, looking at the daily real quick, by the way, what we can clearly see is that we have an area of supply located over here. This area of supply essentially took out these lows over here, brought a lot of momentum in towards the market. Then going in towards the 4 hour, and that daily zone isn't adjusting, but let me just delete it. What we now know is that, okay, well, we have a daily zone over here. Inside that daily zone, we also have this 4 hour zone. And yeah, pretty much the extreme 4 hour zone, which I mentioned on yesterday's video as well. And we can see easy spike into it and then moving further downwards. So I am really keeping in mind that the Aussie dollar could, from here, see further downward momentum in line with the daily, the weekly, and the 4 hour trend, as this is pretty much your highest probability selling zone, as it is extreme supply. Furthermore, very nice kind of liquidity trend line, of course, with the 1, the 2. On the third touch, you could see that the market was trying to push price down. However, taking out the stops above the trend line, diving in towards supply, and now really seeing some bearish momentum kick in. Keep an eye on the lower time frame, I would say. Let's have a look at the 15. Keep an eye on the 15, and yeah, the 15 minute is now bearish as well. So just keep an eye on 15-minute bearish order flow, where you could now, for instance, say is that, okay, well, this low got broken, this was the high, this was the low, this was the high, this was the low. Now, for instance, we have supply over here. We have liquidation above this high. So let's say Aussie dollar pulls back, you could look for further shorts in line with the higher time frame trend. Keep that in mind when trading. And then you could potentially play this Aussie dollar trade all the way back down towards this weak low. This is a weak low because it failed to take out this strong high. And this is a strong high because it took out this weak low. So yeah, that's Aussie dollar. Let's head over to Euro dollar. And Euro dollar. So yesterday I pretty much explained to you all that we didn't have any liquidation over here in this move in towards the downside. Therefore, this area of supply essentially failed. We can see that we clearly ran that high to grab more liquidity to stop out all those early sellers. There was no real entry possibility over here. So what did I do? Well, once this kind of area got broken, I was looking, okay, what is the next area of supply? This area of supply had already been filled by this wick. So then I was looking a little bit higher. Then I came at this area of supply. As we can see, clear tap into it and are now pushing back down lower. Next area of interest is pretty much this area of 4 hour demand. It's not very strong demand. However, we are keeping in mind that we could see a reaction to it from it. Currently just waiting for the lower time frame setups at the moment, diving in towards the 15. What we can clearly now see is that this, let's say we just quickly mark out structure. Well, let's say this. So this is the impulse up. This is just all a pullback. So we need to break this low, and then you could, for instance, look for shorts on 15-minute areas of supply. That's pretty much what I would be looking at. Looking at this 4 hour though, it does really look nice for a further drop. Quickly putting in the tool, we can then clearly see is that the 50% mark also got hit to absolute perfection, supply, and then a further drop. Keeping in mind though that we could still come for these kind of equal highs over here where liquidity lies above, but it does look good for now for a further drop, as the dollar is of course also inside an area of demand. So yep, that's that for euro dollar. Let's head over to pound dollar. And pound dollar, so pound dollar is a little bit more ugly in my opinion. Yeah, a lot of people going short of course from this area of supply over here. As I mentioned yesterday, not interested in it because there is no, and essentially the exact same as on euro dollar, there's no liquidation. So what happens, you become the liquidation. For the rest, not really any interesting areas of supply over here. So yeah, I'm not really interested in trading pound dollar at the moment, as I don't really see any areas that I'm really interested in. Looking at the daily, we can clearly see that we're currently reacting to an area of daily supply. If we were to draw that from wick to wick, you can clearly see we just absolutely tapped that to perfection, currently reacting to it. So for now, we could see further downside on pound dollar. However, not really seeing any nice opportunities due to the fact that the lower time frame is just a little bit messy. Just keep in mind that if we, for instance, still push up higher, I will be looking for potential shorts from this area of supply. So that's that for pound dollar. Let's head over to Kiwi dollar. And Kiwi dollar, so Kiwi dollar, yeah, took out this equal high for liquidity over here, tapped in towards this pretty much buy to sell. If we dive in towards lower time frame, you can clearly see that it's a 1 hour area of supply, no liquidation. So what happens, we liquidate the highs itself over here, currently moving down lower. Not really a big fan of Kiwi dollar and the price action that we're seeing over here. It looks rather choppy. However, you could have a look at the 15 minute because the 15 minute is in a clear bearish trend. We can clearly see, of course, is for instance that we came in towards this buy before the sell. Market comes back in after creating a new lower low over here. So we had a trend switch over here. Market comes back up in towards supply, creates a new lower low again, pulls back up, tapped in towards supply, and is now trying to make a new lower low again. Yeah, for me, Kiwi dollar is not very interesting. I would focus more on euro dollar and Aussie dollar myself. But looking at this 4 hour, this 4 hour does look like we could start seeing further downside. I would prefer it on Kiwi dollar as the swing range is just so massive at the moment. So I just want some more clean structure to start forming. Keep in mind that Kiwi dollar is just simply going to follow euro dollar, Aussie dollar, and the dollar index. So let's see if we can now see that new push down on Kiwi dollar. So let's head over to gold. And gold, so gold pushed up higher yesterday from pretty much this area of demand over here. I was focusing on taking out this swing low over here and tapping in towards this lowest area of demand. It's still possible in my opinion, still a valid option. Looking at the 1 hour though, I would keep an eye on this area of demand over here with some clear liquidation over here. So if we tap in towards here, I will potentially be looking for some longs for a further retracement up on gold. So yeah, looking at the daily real quick, by the way, we can clearly see that this area of demand is what caused the price to move further up after liquidating this low over here. Looking at the daily further, this is pretty much your next area of supply that you want to see get hit before, let's say, a further push down or that further push up. So that is that for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. I wish you all a fantastic day. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me through Discord. Link is in the description down below. Thanks, guys.